Hello everyone, this is module 3 and today we are going to discuss ethics in public and private relationships. So broadly it is a part of your unit 1 ethics in human interface, and here we will be talking about what ethics means in private relationships and how it is related to ethics in public relationships. Now, we'll also discuss about whether ethics in public relationship is a separate entity and has nothing to do with ethics in private relationships, or it has some interconnections in between. In other words, we'll also try to discuss whether a person can manage to be ethical only in his private relationship and unethical in his public relationship. Is it even possible? So we'll discuss some of these things in detail in today's discussion. Moving forward, we have a question which is a previous year question in 2017. It says that the crisis of ethical values in modern times is traced to a narrow perception of good life. Discuss. So this is a quotation and you have to explain the meaning of that quotation. Discuss is the directive. So here I want you to pay a lot of attention to directive word. Usually what happens is the candidates, they ignore the directive word completely. So most of the times at the end of a question or at the end of a statement, it is followed by a directive word. Sometimes it is comment, sometimes it is discuss, sometimes it is critically analyze. So you should have a fair idea about the meaning of the directive words. So here it says discuss. Discuss is a all-encompassing directive. It means that you explain whatever you know about the topic within the word limit. So here what you are supposed to do is you explain the meaning of the quote. Generally in any quotation based questions you are supposed to explain the meaning. Second thing, you have to explain using some examples. Third thing, you can try to link it with civil service and link it with modern times, how it is relevant. So I'll repeat this thing. First, you will explain the meaning of the quotation in very simple language. Second, you will make use of examples. Third, you will say how this quotation is relevant in public service and modern times. So pay attention to these things. If you include these three things, your answer will stand out. So let's see what is the approach of this question. I'll read it once more. The crisis of ethical values in modern times is traced to a narrow perception of the good life. Now let's understand what is the meaning. The meaning is, in the modern times you would have observed that the ethical values are degrading. The ethical values which were there in the past is not the same as it is today in the present times. It is degrading. It has been confined to very narrow definition. How have we defined a good life these days? It is all about earning more and more, having a BMW at home, having a luxurious bungalow. So that is how we have defined ethical values. That is how we have confined ourselves to a very narrow definition of good life. So that is the basic meaning, fundamental meaning of this line. That the manifestation of degrading ethical values is being observed in multiple things in the current times. In the current times, we have boiled down to a very narrow definition of good life. How have we defined good life? Like I said, good life has been defined like owning a good bungalow, having a good car, and earning lot of money. So let's see how we'll approach this question. So in the introduction part, you will talk about what is a good life, how we have narrowed down the definition of good life. Good life today means material wealth, maybe owning a BMW or an Audi and a big house. That is how we define a good life. Most of the times our family members and relatives would tell us that study hard because that is how you will earn more money. They don't say study hard because that's how you will be able to serve humankind, right? So this is how we have narrowed down the definition of good life. In the earlier times, what would happen is in the cultural books, in the traditional scriptures that we have, there was this concept of dharma, arth, kama, and moksha, right? These were the four things that were emphasized by our religious scriptures, right? But now the emphasis is only on artha and kama. Artha means material possession, big house, big car, lot of money. Kama means sensual pleasures, going for expensive holidays, spending lot of money in consumerism, buying dresses, buying clothes, buying expensive perfumes, etc. So these are the things that we have kept to ourselves, and we have totally sidelined dharma and moksha. So this is how we have narrowed down the definition of good life. Good life ideally should be a mix of all these four components: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. But in the modern times, we have narrowed it down significantly by keeping only artha and kama and sidelining the other two. The good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. In ideal case, what should be a good life? A good life is one that is happy, that is giving me happiness, contentment, satisfaction. You are serving humankind and in turn getting happiness and satisfaction. That should be the ideal definition of a good life. Good life is one inspired by love, where you will love others and be loved by others, and guided by knowledge. But all these things have taken a back seat now. What we always emphasize on is how to earn more and more money. And you can very well see the manifestation of these things where, example, increasing corrupt practices, corruption, scams. Why are scams increasing so much? Crony capitalism. All these are manifestations and examples to show how we have narrowed down the definition of a good life to only material possessions. So let's move forward. What do we discuss in the body? So this was the introduction part, wherein you will explain the meaning of the quotation in simple language, maybe in 2 or 3 lines. In the body part, you can talk about a few examples, like we spoke about the scams, the increasing corrupt practices in the bureaucracy, and increasing cases of crony capitalism. They are all manifestations, they are all demonstrations to show how we have narrowed down the definition of good life. Also in the body part, you can talk about how in the ancient times we defined good life as encompassing dharma, artha, moksha, and kama. But today we have cut down the 2 parts and kept only the 2, which is artha and kama. So these kind of things would add value to your answers and make your answers stand out. So this is the body. Let's see what else can be added. Analyze the issue from both sides. So both sides here can mean what would happen in the ancient times and what can be seen in the modern times, right? Modern life emphasizes on speed of action, economic good as compared to sustainable and social good. So in the present times, what we are doing, we do not care about if something is sustainable or not. Now take the example of the climate change. Did we worry about climate change really? Did we stop development? Did we opt for sustainable development? The answer is no. We did not care whether something is going to be sustainable or not. We prioritized development. We prioritized industrialization over caring for nature and environment. So the outcome is what? It is degradation of nature and forests, and it is not at all sustainable. So in the modern times, we do not care about sustainable development at all. For that matter, we don't care about sustainability at all. We want easy money, faster money, and what is the way? What is the means? Corruption. So you don't want to work hard and earn money. You want easy money, and corruption is the best way out. So that is how things are happening in the modern times. Explain some of the manifestations. We have already spoken about multiple examples like scams, like crony capitalism, like US walking out from the Paris deal, prioritizing development over nature. So these are some of the manifestations that how in the present times we are emphasizing more and more on easy cash, faster cash, and we don't want to work hard to earn money. In the conclusion, you can talk about what is your opinion about good life. In your own words, you can explain that ideally a good life should be one that makes you happy. And what should make you happy? By giving to others and not by earning more and more. It is by sharing and caring. It is by taking care of your near and dear ones, taking care of the vulnerable population, listening to their concerns and trying to add value to their lives. This is how you can add value to your life, add meaning to your life, and in turn you will be happy, satisfied and contented at the end of each day. So that's how in the conclusion you can write about how you feel what is a good life for you, what a good life for you means. You can cite some of the examples also from your own life experiences. Good life means huge money, big house, luxurious vehicles. In the modern times, that is how most of the people have defined a good life. But that is not how you define a good life. In your definition, a good life is a life of happiness, satisfaction, meaning. It is a life of sharing and caring and not of selfishness and greed. So that's how you can talk in the conclusion. So this is how you will draft your answer. And now we'll look at some of the more examples in the modern times, how people have confined or restricted the definition of a good life. So these are some additional examples. You can pick and choose some of the examples and put it in your answers also. So for example, pleasure without responsibility. When we are drinking and driving, we do not think that what is the negative consequence of drinking and driving. You might end up doing an accident and you might lose your life. And also there might be many other people sitting in the car. They might also lose their lives. So you do not care about the long-term consequences. You are not ready for a long-term gratification or delayed gratification. You want immediate pleasure, immediate results, right? You are not ready for delayed gratification. You can't wait. You want immediate pleasure. This is not at all appropriate. Sexual pleasure, that's the reason there are so many cases of sexual harassment at workplaces. You want immediate pleasure, immediate outcomes and results. You cannot wait. You have lost that control on your emotions. You have lost that control on your own self. In the modern times, what we care about is how fast the growth is. You don't care about the concept of sustainable development. You want faster growth and not sustainable development. You don't want sustainable development. You are focusing on faster growth. You don't care that whether this faster growth will be sustainable or not. You are bothered only about progress, rationality, more and more freedom, and pragmatism, practicality. You engage in unhealthy competition. Just imagine this UPSC exam itself. UPSC exam. What happens here? You have made it a zero-sum game. You know that either your friend will be selected or you will be selected. The number of seats are very limited. So you don't tend to share your resources. You don't want to share your notes. You have made it a zero-sum game. Either the other people will be benefited or you will be benefited. So you would obviously want that you yourself are benefited. So you don't want to share and read. So now we are going to discuss about ethics in public relations and ethics in private relations. So what do we mean by ethics in public relations? Now, there is one quote by Gandhiji which says that in any kind of relation, there are 2-3 important things that are very significant to determine the kind of relationship. One is respect, one is appreciation, one is understanding, and one is affection. These are the 4 things. The acronym that you can remember is RAAW. Respect, appreciation, understanding, and affection. These are the things that will determine any relationship, be it public or be it private. So let's see how the two relations are separate. How do we define ethics in public relation? How do we define ethics in private relation? So before going into that part, let's see how each of these values are important to determine each and every kind of relationship. We'll go one by one. First is respect. Suppose you are not able to respect your parents at home. Parents, do you think you will be able to respect your colleagues, your seniors or subordinates in the workplace? So I hope you can appreciate how ethics in public sphere is interlinked with ethics in private sphere. They are not different entities, they are not isolated entities, they are not detached, but they are interconnected. If you are able to respect your parents at home, then only you will be able to respect your colleagues or subordinates. Next, let us take appreciation. If you are not able to appreciate the work done by your spouse or partner at home, the responsibility, the duties he or she is performing towards the children in the household, if you are not able to appreciate that thing, will you be able to appreciate the work done by your colleagues or your juniors? The answer is no. So this way, you can appreciate how ethics in public life is very much connected with ethics in private life. Affection. If you are not able to show affection towards your kids, do you think you will be able to show love and care towards any colleague or any person in office? Or if you are not able to love and care for your kids at home, will you really be able to understand the concerns of the people who come to you for help in office? Suppose you are an administrator and an old lady comes to you for pension, saying that she does not have the required documents now, but she is in dire need of pension. How will you understand her difficulty? If you are not able to show affection, care, love towards your kids, how will you understand her concerns? How will you solve her problem? Will you deny her the pension that she is entitled to? Or you will tell her that you don't have documents, so you do not deserve pension? You will have to sit down, work as a team with her, solve her problem, and give her the entitlements she deserves. For that, you have to fast track the process of her documentation and then ensure that she gets the pension on time. So you can understand again how the two are interlinked. The two cannot be read in isolation. Next is understanding. If you do not understand your partner or spouse, what he or she demands, what is the expectation from your partner, then how will you understand the demands of your colleagues? How will you understand the demands of the people in your district? If you are the district collector, you will be faced with multiple challenges every single day. There might be a problem like this. Suppose there has to be a developmental project. We have discussed some similar examples in the module 2 also. Suppose there is a developmental project, a railway line needs to be laid down, and because of that, a large forest needs to be deforested. And as a result of that, an entire village has to be displaced along with that. So the people are very much concerned. The population there is a tribal population. The problems are manifold. They have a very good bonding with the forest and they do not want to be displaced. So how will you deal with their problem? If you don't understand their concerns, how will you arrive at a solution working along with them? So for performing ethically in your public sphere, in your official sphere, the beginning has to be done in your private relationships itself. Because the private relationships are the first ones that you encounter. As a kid, you do not go to office or you do not go to school on the very first day you are born. For the first 5 to 6 years, the socialization, the storytelling, the talks, the mingling happens only in a restricted manner. You first meet your mother, then your parents, then your siblings, then your other family members, and then your relatives. And only then comes the role of friends and school, right? At this stage, your relationship shifts from being private to public. So, private relationships are the first ones that you encounter in life. They are the ones that lay the foundation for ethics in public life. So, you should understand here very clearly that ethics in private life, I would say, is more important than ethics in public life. There is no significant difference. You have to be ethical both in your private life and also in your public life. But just to say that ethics in private life is the first thing that you encounter, and that lays the foundation for your ethical values in your public life, and so it is to be more emphasized upon. Only if you learn ethical values at home in your private sphere, you will be able to be ethical in the public sphere as well. So now we'll move on to ethics in public relations. So if I have to explain to you what is ethics in public relations, it is the ethical standards, the guidelines that you will remember when you are a part of a larger organization. You are not a private entity, you are a part of the larger organization. The standards that you are following when you are not a private entity, but you are a part of a larger organization, or you are part of a larger context dealing with multiple public officials, then those standards are called ethics in public relations. Example, the three wings of the government, the three organs of the government. What are they? Executive, legislative and judiciary. They have a public relation between them. So what can be other examples? One more example can be you are the district collector or the district magistrate. The kind of relationship that you have with the people of the district is what? Is it a private relationship? It is a public relationship. You listen to their problems and you solve their problems. That is a public relationship. So let's see what are some of the features of public relations. Society and organization. That means ethics in public relations are the type of relationships with the members of the society or with the members of your office or company, your colleagues, your seniors, your subordinates. So these type of relationships, the kind of relationship that you share with your colleagues is a public relationship. They are formal and predictable. They are formal because it is kind of a top-down. There are some guidelines that will guide your behavior. There are some code of conduct as per the company. There will be some provisions, some rules that will guide your behavior. You will not be very close friends. You may share some private relationship, but by and large, you will have a very formal relationship. With your senior in the company, with your reporting officer in the company, what kind of relationship will you have? You will have a very professional, formal relationship. He or she will guide you with some work, some tasks and some targets that you have to complete these many tasks in that particular stipulated time. So that is the kind of relationship. You will deliver the task and that is that. Your relationship is restricted to that. Legal and social obligation. So for example, sexual harassment at workplace. So in the company setup, people will be really cautious not to engage into all such activities. There are some legal obligations in the company. Suppose you sign a bond in the company, contract say 2 years. For example, when I was working in Cognizant, I had signed a bond for 2 years. So these are some guidelines, some obligations on you. Once you join the company by signing this contract, it means that you have accepted to all these provisions, all these obligations. You are ready to serve the company for 2 years. And if you breach this contract, you have to pay the breach amount. You will have to pay the bond amount or contract amount. So in this case, you have agreed to serve the company for 2 years. And if you don't serve, then you will have to pay the bond amount of 1 lakh. So that is how things happen in public relations. Expectation of respect. Obviously, if you are, say, an IAS trainee, example, and who will you report to? The district collector. The district collector will expect what from you? Respect. And what will you expect from the district collector in return? Respect. Even though you are the subordinate, even though you are his or her junior, but you will expect that level of respect from the district collector also. So mutual respect is what is expected in a professional relationship. But in the private relationship, you would see most of the times the relationship between an elder sibling and younger sibling is very, very casual and informal. There is no word called respect. It is relationship. Often temporary, usually engaged due to mutual benefits. Now same example is, take the example of a company and you have entered the company and you don't know how many years you will serve. But you start UPSC preparation and you know that in the coming 6 months, you are going to resign from this job. So till the time you resign, you have to follow what your boss tells you, asks you to do. So this type of relationship is temporary. You have the relationship with the boss only till the time you are part of this company. So these relationships are temporary. Obviously, many a times you develop good friendship with multiple colleagues or juniors, and that relationship lasts for a lifetime. Now, those things are exceptions. But in most of the cases, your relationship with the colleagues of your company or your boss is restricted only till the time you are a part of that company. Now, moving on to private relationships. Now, private relationships are those relationships that happen in private sphere. For example, the relationship between you and your mother, you and your parents, you and your siblings, parents, friends. So these are private relationships. Now, what are some of the ethical values that are to be kept in mind in private relationship apart from those mentioned by Gandhiji? RAAW, that we have already noted. That will hold good for both private relationship and public relationship. Respect, affection, appreciation and understanding. Gandhiji. Apart from that, what are the other things? Morality, self-interest and emotions, care, right? So these are the 3 things that determine how good your private relationships will be. Morality. Suppose you come across as a person who is very parochial, who keeps talking to your friends about caste hierarchy, about how interreligious marriages do not pan out to be successful, all these things. So do you really think that you will develop good friends from people who do not belong to your caste or do not belong to your religion? The answer is no. Because you come across as a person who is narrow-minded, who is parochial in nature, right? So morality is very, very important when it comes to private relationships. Self-interest. Have you observed why we cry when we lose our near and dear ones? Suppose some near and dear one is going to some other country for a long time and we'll not be seeing that person for say 5 years. We cry. Why? Because of our self-interest. That there is no one for us to love us or care for us. Right? We'll not be able to spend time with that person for next 5 years. So these are some of the examples. Now when you will go for training to academy or maybe district training or maybe you will get field posting, you will become very busy. You would have observed that your parents will feel happy at the time, sad also. Why? Because they will feel that my child will get very busy in the coming years and we will not have his or her time. So that is self-interest is a very important driver when it comes to private relationships. Emotions and care. Again, a similar example. When some near and dear one dies, we cry a lot. Why? Because there is no one left to care for us. There is no one to fill that void. There is no one who can replace that person. So that's the reason we cry. These are the 3 significant drivers when it comes to ethics in private relationships. Now let's see some of the traits or features of private relationships. One is family and friends. The kind of relationship that we share with our parents, especially with our mother, special bonding would always be there. The bonding between your siblings, the bonding with friends, with parents, with immediate family members. They are informal in nature. They are not guided by any rules. No. The rules are defined by the 2 individuals who are in that private relationship. The 2 siblings will decide between themselves what will be the rules. There will not be any legal provision to guide the relationship between 2 siblings. Suppose 2 siblings, they decide that on one day I will sleep with my mother, the next day I will sleep with my father. So this is a mutual pact between 2 siblings, right? They, both of them have together decided this thing. And no third party will impose any rule on them. It is more intimate in nature, very close, because it is guided by love, affection, selflessness. Love, affection, selflessness, ethics of care, motherly love, expectations of love and affection. Often you would have observed and you would have done it yourselves also. When you are having a bad headache, you just want to go to your mother and put your head on her lap and ask her to care for you, to do some oil massage for you. So this is what is love and affection. You would have very easily gone and taken a medicine, a Disprin, but you don't choose to do that. You feel that the moment your mother will do a oil massage for you, your headache will be gone. So is it for real? It may be for real, but the driver is love and affection. The kind of bond that you share with your mother. So this kind of intimacy is only to be seen in private relationships. Now I'll take one more example from the Ramayana. You would have gone through Ramayana, or in your childhood times you would have heard multiple stories. Now what happened is, King Dasharatha was very happy with Kaikeyi and he gave 2 vardans to her. On a very critical moment, she asked for those 2 vardans from King Dasharatha. And due to this vardan, or due to this promise or commitment that King Dasharatha made to his wife Kaikeyi, king had to send his son Lord Rama for exile. He wanted to make Rama the king, but because of this vardhan, or because of the promise that he had made to his wife, he had to send him for exile. So just imagine the bond between the king and his wife on one hand. Imagine the bond between Lord Rama and King Dasharatha. The relationship between father and son. The son never questioned anything to his father, that why have you made such a promise? It should have been driven by logic and reasoning. Why did you blindly promise something? I will not go to exile. He could have said that, but he didn't. He did not ask any question. He did not utter any word. He silently went to the exile for 14 years. So what I am trying to say is, this is the level of respect, love, affection, intimacy, dignity in private relationships. Had it been a public relationship, then definitely one would have asked this harsh question to the other person, that why did you make such a promise? Did you even ask me? Why should I be victimized because of your promise? Such questions could have arisen had it been a public relationship. So that is the beauty of private relationships. There is a lot of respect, dignity, decency, love, affection, among other values. Accommodate more imperfections. So this is very, very significant. What happens in an interview, in any job interview? The requirement is so and so skills, like say 5 skills, good communication skills, maybe knowledge of this so and so certifications, knowledge of C++, Java and whatnot. So if you fit into those skill sets, and then you will be taken into an interview, and if you qualify that interview stage, you will be hired. So the company has nothing to do with how you are as a person, how good you are, how genuine you are, how compassionate you are. They are not bothered. You have these skills, you will perform efficiently and productively, you will be hired. But in case of private relationships, even if a child is differently abled, the parents do not throw that child away, right? Even a differently abled child is very dear to the heart of the parents, is very close to the parents. So, in the private relationships, we tend to accept all the imperfections of our near and dear ones, right? So these are some of the examples. I have discussed multiple real life examples that you will see all around, right? There is no such examples that is based on extreme current affairs that you would not have heard at all. They are all simple daily life examples that you can make a note of and very well use it in your paper. It will make your answers stand out. In ethics, that's the beauty. The more regular examples, routine examples, daily life examples you put in your paper, it breaks the monotony.